Today we're going to talk about a couple additional features of this app I've shown before. If you, I'll put the link in the description of the complete build of the app up to this point. But today we're going to talk about two new features I put on it. One is when you look up the members of a group, hence the little people icon right here, it will determine it'll tell you whether they're owner or a member. And then the other thing I'm going to show you is the removal from groups. Okay. So first thing we're going to do is we'll go over this. So when you click on one of these groups, I'm going to pick on one that's got a lot of people in it so you can see. This is actually my group that gets created with my environment. I'm in a dev environment right now, so that I got through the Microsoft Developer Program. And we're going to click on this link. And what it's going to do, it's going to run a flow that's actually going to look up the owners, and then the teams get list group members, or no, groups. The groups connector with list group members actually displays everybody, and then if their name comes up on the owner list, it will put this owner thing around it, and if it doesn't, it just says member. Okay, it's just a listing to let you know which what. Now on this screen, like in the other videos that I've done with this, it's got your member name up here, or it's got your group name up here. It counts how many people are in the team or group, and it gives you their ID right here. So if you're looking up a group ID, you can look it up just by doing this. This is where all the people's names are. This is their email addresses, which you can't click on them. It just but you can highlight them and copy and paste them. And of course your owners and members. And I got it set up so that way it puts the owners at the top, so it's easy to find them. And of course you can delete them here. And another thing I added was the export to Excel. Now it's similar to the export to Excel on the group list that you can bring up, but so what you do is you click on the button. I got a little animation here that runs until the export's done. Then once the export's done and it gets the URL back, it puts this icon down here. Now it stores this file, that the export that it does, it stores a file on your OneDrive, so you always have access to it if you need it. Just because you don't have it here don't mean you're never going to have it. And I believe I have it targeted to the documents folder of your OneDrive. So if you don't have one, it makes one. So when you click on this link here, it opens up in Excel. It's just a CSV. It's nothing special. You can make an XLSX. It takes longer though. It does on the average like 40 rows per minute, which is, if you got like a lot, it'll be close. Alright, so as you can see, it's kind of compressed. So what you do is you just select the whole thing, and you can double click between two of them, and it'll auto expand all the rows. Now of course you can do more than this if you really want to. You're limited with what you can do here unless you convert it. So you can go here. Since it's on your OneDrive, you're going to be able to edit it no matter what. So I'm going to edit it, but in order to edit, you got to convert it to an XLSX. You can't do it as a CSV. So we're going to convert it. I think it just makes another file. I don't think it actually converts it. And then say you want to, make your, not insert. You want to say you want to make your header row blue and change the font to white. You can do different things, or you can center it. You can even go as far as changing the fill color, kind of like I did on the app. But yeah, it exports here, and you can send it to anybody, especially if they can't access your Sorry about the yawn, and I'm a little tired. Um, you can send it to their email if you want. You know, just by going here and then share, share with people. Wait, nope, nope, that's wrong. Cancel. File. Is it? I don't think it's export. No, it's share. Looks different. I guess maybe because it's in the browser, it looks different. There should be share and then say email, then attaches the email. Da 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 da. So there's that. Okay. Close this window. Now, like I said, the other thing that's similar to this is the lookup IDs and group emails. This shows every group email you have access to as an owner. You know, and then these are clickable, and when you do your export, they're still clickable. You know, in the Excel, I made sure that they were hyperlinks so that way it open up the email. Okay. Now, next thing I want to show you is the remove group users. Don't worry, I'm going to show you how to do this part. I'm going to show you how to do the functionality first, and then I'll go through and show you how to set it up. So you you click on the button, so it'll take you to another screen. That shouldn't be showing, but okay. So you're going to put person's name in here, okay? So I have a small tenant, so I'll just pick somebody. We'll do Joni Sherman. Okay, when you select their name and then you hit look up groups for this user, what it does is every group that you own that they're in will show up on the right here, because you have to be an owner to remove people from groups. Okay, or add for that matter. So, say I want to remove them from this group right here and this group right here. You notice when I select each one, it pops it in the gallery into a list right here. What this list is going to do is it's going to go into each one of these groups, find that person's name, and remove them using the Teams connector. Okay, or actually the group connector. I keep saying Teams. So once you hit this, it's going to give you a confirmation. It says confirm removal of selected groups. Are you sure you want to remove the selected user from all the selected groups above listed, or groups listed above? 2 groups total, yes or no? Now if you hit yes, it'll remove them. If you hit no, it just goes back to the screen. Okay? Now you can only do one person at a time. That's the only really sucky part about this. But you can remove them from a bunch of groups all at once. You don't have to go to each group and remove them. You just select it once and you're done. So let's go ahead and remove them. So we hit yes. It goes pretty quick. And boom, it's done. They had 6 groups here before, now there's only 4. So that's how you know it worked. And the other way you can do is go back to the home screen. I remember he was in the GE one. So we go to GE, hit the members group here, and he should no longer be there, which he's not. Okay. So that's your remove users from groups. Okay. So we're gonna first. So what I'm gonna do is we're gonna go back into the GE group. That's got a bunch of people in it, right? And then I'm gonna get out of the editor, or go into the editor. Now, the way this works is, actually I need to go back to the home screen. If you look at the person thing right here, it's doing a few things, but first thing it's doing, it's that export address. You click on the icon on the bottom when you do your export. That's being held in a variable called var_link address. So what I want to do is I want to make sure that's empty when I start. So I made sure it's blank by putting the thing here. And then I'm running a flow that's going to do a HTTP call to SharePoint. No, HTTP call to groups. And it's going to find out all the owners of the group that we selected. Okay. Now, since the information that comes back from Flow is an array, it has to come back, and since you can't pass arrays through the respond to Power Apps action, we have to put it in a text field, or we have to convert it into a string value, and then we got to convert it back into a table value so we can use the data. Okay, so that's why this has got a parse JSON next to it in front of the thing here. So this is actually the flow that we're running, and all I'm passing is the ID of the group, and what we're getting back is the owners. Okay, so let's go into the flow and let's take a look at it. So we're using display owners is my name, okay, which is right here. So we're going to edit it. It's a pretty simple flow. I think it's got 4 steps altogether. Give it a chance to load. Really? Okay, I guess we're just going to go through Power Automate to do it. So let's go to Power Automate, which is right here. Hopefully it'll open. Most time it'll open through Power Apps. Alright, go to My Flows. What was it called again? Display owners. So I'll just come to search, type display. There it is, display owners. Alright, so let's go edit. Yep, 4 steps, just like I thought. Alright, so first step is the trigger, right? It's, since Power Apps is triggering it, it needs to be the trigger. And I got one variable here that's being pulled in, which is that ID I showed you earlier. Okay. Next thing is send an HTTP request v2 to groups. Okay. This is a group type connector, and all this address stuff I'm going to put in the description, so you don't have to write it down while we're going through it. I'd rather you watch and see how this works. Alright, so we're going to put this URI in there. Now, keep in mind, I just went into the Graph Explorer to pull this stuff out. It's not that hard to set up. If you use the Graph Explorer, it does most of the work for you. So you put this address, and then I'm grabbing that ID I got from Power Apps / owners. Now, you don't, normally when you see an ID GUID, you put curly braces around it, but you don't, in this case, you do not. You leave it just like it is. It's just going to be the numbers and dashes. Okay? And then / owners. Now, if you want to get the members, you just go / members. Our method is get. And I only got one property I needed from this. And it's the content type is application JSON. Okay? Then the next step is it's going to pull that JSON from this step, and we're going to do a select. Okay? As you can see, this value right here is coming from that step, so it's the body of send HTTP request v2 value. You got to have that value on the end, otherwise it's not gonna. It's gonna see it as string and not as a table. It needs to be a table when it comes in. That value property is a table. Okay, and the only thing I'm pulling in my map, I'm making a column called name, and I'm pulling into the display name of all the results that come back from this. So it's going to be basically a 1-column table with display names. Now, coming out of this step right here, it comes out as a string, as in the form of JSON, and then we are going to, now since we can only do text, yes, no, file, email, number, and date, table and array cannot be passed through this step. So that's why I did the select, so that way it would give me a string output, which I can put under text, which is what I got here. Okay. And then I just basically do the raw output from the select step and pass it back to Power Apps. Now let's take a look at a run that I did. As you see, I ran this quite a few times. So let's look at the last one we did. Alright, so when we open up this step, well, of course, gotta get that out of the way. Alright, so the input, it shows the what was actually inputted. Okay, this is just the formatting of the variable. So down here, oops, in the body, all we has is, since, now remember, when you, the internal name of these fields are not, you know, whatever we call them, okay? Those are display names. This only deals with the internal name, so it goes text, text1, text2, text3, text4, so on and so forth, right? Now this is the group ID that gets passed from Power Apps into the flow, and then it saves it as a variable, okay? Then you come down to the URI. Here it is. See, here's our graph.microsoft.com v1 groups, and then it inserts the ID /owners. And if you come down to the output side and you should show raw outputs, you can see what it's doing. Remember, anything in between curly brackets is typically a record. So it only brought back one person, since there's only one record here, and it was me. Okay, that's how you know what it's coming back as. So when you do this call, it actually comes back with a lot of stuff. Now, when you do the select, you'll see that the output is just the name. I called it name, and I'm pulling back the display name of that record. You see, this is literally the whole JSON right here. Now, we have to put it in an array because, and then convert it to string, because you may have more than one name. Okay, if we had one name, I can just do a text and then be done with it. Okay, and then when it responds back, there's your schema, and this is how it does it. Okay, it's putting it into a string so it can be translated back to Power Apps, and that's what gets read. Now, on the Power Apps side, after this comes back, I put .owners there, but I could do whatever. I don't even have to have that there, to be honest with you, and you'll see why here in a minute. But it parses the JSON, which turns it into an untyped object. Okay, so if I go like this, and of course, it's not going to show anything. It sets the results of this into the GV owner. Okay, and then I set another variable down here, and I set it to 1, which is basically a true false. So that's what opens up the container for these things here. So let's go ahead and let's run this one. Brings you in here. Okay. Never changed yet. So this gallery right here is what we're going to focus on right now. I put a thing in here so that doesn't run this all the time, no matter what. So I said if count rows of Office 365 groups list members gallery1.selectedID.value is greater than 0. So if it's empty, I don't want it running, because it'll throw an error because it ain't going to have an ID. Okay. So what I did is over here I sorted by columns because I did more than one column, and then I'm adding a column on top of everything else, and I'm calling it calling it, where is it, where is it, where is it? It's called the additional column is called status. I'm saying if this record dot display name in concat table GV owner comma value dot name. So basically it's looking for if the display name that is being shown on the gallery is contained within this GV owner variable, mark it as owner. Otherwise, mark it as member. Okay, this is our untyped object right here, and we're converting it to a table, and then we're converting it back into a string so it can be searched. Right, and then I'm sorting by status, which is either owner or member, and then I'm sorting it by display name, so by their name, the alphabetical of their name. Okay. As you see, that's what it does. Now, each of these fields, you have to um, declare what they are, like what type of data it is. Sometimes you can get away with doing it this way, since it's defaulting to text. I'm able to do this, but normally you got to put text. You got to encapsulate the text command in this. It's like here and here. Okay, and then this is just an icon. If I want to remove somebody from the group, I can do it right here too. But this only removes it from one group. On my other screen, I can do it from multiple groups at the same time. Okay, and that's essentially how this works. Okay, so now let's go back and let's look at the remove. Okay, this remove button down here does some stuff too, just like the other thing. Alright, we're going to reset the combo box 3, which is that's that people picker you saw when we were doing the demo earlier. And next thing we're going to do is there's a couple collections on that screen. We're going to clear them. Okay, this one here shows me what groups I own, and that's made from you. That's done generally at the beginning of the app when it first loads. Then you got call all groups. That's that gallery that when you select the groups on the right side, it lists them on the left side. And then we're going to navigate to the screen where that stuff's at. Okay? Pretty simple, right? So we're going to go in here. Now this is an everyday, average, run-of-the-mill people picker. Okay? That's made into a combo box. Alright, let's go run it. We're going to click inside, go put, and we'll just pick somebody at random. Okay? Now, as far as this goes, it hasn't nothing's been actioned yet, except it resolved his name. Where all the resolution comes is right here. Okay, so when they click this button right here, it's going to pull all the global groups that I own into a collection. Okay, and then what's going to happen is it's going to roll through that collection one group at a time and see if that person is a member of it or not, and then create another collection, which is going to be the groups on the right. Okay, so it reads for all global groups, which is this. If is not empty of Microsoft Entra ID check group membership v2 combo box selected male this record ID value. Okay, this record ID is the ID of this group. The combo box is the person we just filled in. So basically it's checking the group membership of the group of a particular group at that time and then recording the value. Okay, now if it contains something, it's going to collect it and add it to the call all groups. Okay, and that's what it does when you hit this button here. It's going to go through all the groups I own and see if that person's a member of it. It looks like he's a member of all the groups that I have here. Alright, so as you see, it's pretty fast. It probably just did like 30 groups in about 10 seconds. Okay. Now, in order to populate this gallery over here, you got to select the names over here. So if you go here, and then on the unselect, oh, that's not what it does. On the unselect here. Yep, there it is. So basically what it does, there's only one item in this gallery. So in order to move it over to this gallery so we can get ready to get rid of it, I do a collect, cull removal from group. There's another collection here, so there's like a total of 3 collections going on in this page right here. And then we're going to add this item. Since there's only one field in there, it's just going to add that one field. Okay, and that's what populates this thing here. So let's grab a couple of these. Now, now we're getting ready to do the deletion, right? So when you select this button right here, this originally was my execution of the deletion, but I wanted to put a confirmation box in. So I just commented it out, and I added a variable here and set it to true. This is what opens up that confirmation box, right? So let's go ahead and click it. Now, the only thing that does anything on here, the no button, all it does is set a variable to false, which is what the one I just showed you here. Okay? But the yes button has a lot more duties to perform. Okay? First thing it's going to do, it's going to go through my group and look for anything that needs to be deleted, and it'll delete it. Okay? Because you got all cull remove from group. As you can see, instead of add group members, it's removing group members from group. Okay? And then what it does is it recollects that gallery on the right side. So it clears it, and then it repulls it. And then once you're done, it closes that window that we're in right now. The little container here, it'll close it. Okay? But if you hit no, it just closes the box. It doesn't do anything else. Okay? So this time we're going to hit no. And that's the whole thing. Now, like I said, I'll put some supporting documentation in the description so you don't have to write it down, like different URI calls, websites, and so on and so forth. So if you have any questions or comments or concerns or issues, leave them down in the comments below, and I promise you I do read them, and I will either fix the video or I'll just make another one to address your concern. And I hope you guys have a wonderful day.